Okay, because this video is quite long, I've put some timestamps here and in the description, so please just have a look at that, and that might help you find what you're looking for. Okay, hello, this is my game of life made in Minecraft, and in this video I'm just going to be sort of explaining how it works, a little bit about it, and I'll do a quick explanation at the beginning, and then you can leave if you want, and then if you want to know all the details about it, and then what you can do on the server and just how it works, then stay along. And also, sorry if the resolution or the frame rate of this video is pretty low. I'm using a different way of recording my screen so I can switch between the code and then the server easily. I can't be bothered to do that in a proper way yet. Okay, so first I'll just show that it works. So this is the board. Each block's a grid. It's two-dimensional, of course. And then we can turn it on. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, it's not that laggy. So since last video, I have optimized it a little bit. Well, quite a bit actually, because before it would have a big array of 10,000 binary digits, and it would be, say, a 1, 0, or be 0, 0, 0, and then a 1 and such. And that was really inefficient because it was handled by Skript, and now it's just in like a hard drive almost. So this one level, this is Y39, it's like a big drive for this layer. And I should say, so the reason that you can't just update the blocks live is because then it would matter what order you do them in. So you want to know their next position for all of them and then update all of them. And for that you need a copy, whether that's stored in binary or in like a clone state, which is in this case what I've done, because it just runs a lot smoother. So this one layer is just like a hard drive where it stores the next position and then puts it down here. And all of these other ones, if I stop it, they're like different memory states. So this is at location 3, and you can label them as well. And then you can load them. So if I say, click on this one, this is location 59, and then I can load in 59. And that way, if you're making something, you can actually take a save of it, which is quite nice. And then if we toggle that, you can see how it runs. Pretty cool. I'm going to show you some cool ones now, and then maybe again at the end, or just show one or two. So if we do memory tips, there's like here's a list of all the labeled memory locations. If I want to say a working NetMaker, apparently, so that's number 56. So if we board load 56, this was built by someone called, I think, Pyloid or something. It's very cool of them. Actually built this location, the memory thing, just for them, pretty much. So if we do /board load and then the address 56, and then run that, we'll get this thing that would expand infinitely, but of course it does come across the world border. And the way it works, it just treats this as a normal square, so this doesn't have any neighbours here. So yeah, no huge issues there besides the fact that it's an edge, and it will just break it. This one will normally just build, because it's only like 7 squares. So that's 7 squares, and then, oh, that might be too close to this wall. Just look how much it develops. Mainly off this side, which is why I've done an offset. Okay, so this is now 2 separate things. So this one's not really, this one just like turns into 2 squares. But this one goes huge, and I'm pretty sure actually would grow to more than the size of the arena. Or the world, or whatever you want to call it. No way, Minehut get the best performance from your custom plugins with the Minehut training feature dealt with around double data server the new modes of grade now to handle. Anyway, so now I'm going to get onto the code. Is each block will have a neighbor count. So this one would be 2, because in the 8 blocks surrounding it, there's 2 obsidian blocks, there's 2 other cells, and just based on the rules of Conway's game of life, which I'll explain later, this one will live, this one won't be born. So this is like a stable state, and then it changes like that. Optimization problem, and just the problem in general, is how do you determine how many neighbors a block has? So what we do, there's a function that takes in 2 arguments. It's going to be the x and the z, and then it will just loop these 8 blocks. Actually, it will loop all 9, and if the block itself is obsidian, and it's also not the 5th index of the loop, so it can't be itself, it doesn't matter, because it's only the neighbors that count, then it will increase a count by 1. This is the function, so we have the x and the z, which are the 2 arguments of it, and it's going to return an integer, which is how many blocks are surrounding it. And this bit, I think that might be a bit inefficient, but because it takes one of the arguments in, I can't. So basically we set 2 locations to like the bounding box around that cell, and then we set 2 variables to 0, and then we loop these 9 blocks, and then we add 1 to the count. But if it's the 5th block, then we won't do that because it will be itself. And then we can use that when we tick all the blocks in the grid. We set a variable to the function, and then this is where, based on how many neighbors it has, we'll say change the block in the air to be either air, obsidian, and then after that we're going to load that. Earlier you can't do it 1 block at a time. Otherwise there'd be a bias depending on what way, and also just wouldn't be correct. Making a pattern. I've got to cancel a damage event. Let me actually do that right now. I have no idea who this person is. Please. Oh my god. And also, yeah, so I've disabled building and breaking when it's running, just because it's quite nice to not be able to do that, and you can just place blocks. And there's also blocks, it's also disabled just anything above Y0, and then you can't mess with stuff, and it's also just nice to stay on the ground, so you can start God bridging or something. At the moment it's trying to do this every 2 ticks, but it's not actually doing that, of course, or it is, but the ticks are further apart in time because the server's struggling, so maybe doing every 4 ticks would be more appropriate, which I think it was originally. But before the optimization with this layer that's like a hard drive, it could only run at like 1 TPS, or as in 1 iteration every 20 ticks without the server lagging, so 1 per second, which is a lot slower than this, which is like 5 times per second. Yeah. What we can do is just make some random patterns, and then I'll show you the process of saving it into memory. A very small Among Us figure. Okay, there's our imposter. That looks pretty cute, actually. Oh my god, that looks amazing. So what I'll then do is a board. Okay, so first of all, we want to do memory tabs. So we know that we can save it in location 62. I could add a function to that, just so we can like automatically save it into the next free memory slot. So save it into location 2, memory label, and then just put like this. So now we've got a label. Oh, sorry, you've got to do, what was it, 62. And then if we do memory tips, we can have that. So where it says 62, but by Lulu. And then let's say we run that, and it's all fun and stuff, and nice. Then we can just do board load, and then that memory address, and it will clone it from here. So if we do Y62, which is also quite nice, because if you left click on them, it tells you the memory location and also the label that you've put with it. What the hell is this? These are just going to disappear. Board load 52. Oh yeah, this is like, we were trying to build that NetMaker thing or whatever, and it just didn't work. Oh, whoops. So yeah, these are going to disappear because they don't have enough neighbors, and this is like, oh, maybe it does work. Oh yeah, they didn't want it to be off center, so we had to make another one. I might add a function that's like a command for saving it with an offset or loading it with an offset, and then so if you want it to be central, you could do that. Yeah. Okay, so the code of the entire server. So when we load it, we're just setting some like text variable to be whatever, that's not really important. And then we also don't need this anymore. But these, because what originally was done is that these 2 locations were set every single pass of the grid, or every like 4 ticks, 2 ticks. So it's probably more efficient to do it on loading. There's also disabling commands and stuff, there's clearing the chat. So the way this is done, this probably fairly inefficient. Well, it is, because even if it's off, it's still like technically running some code. But every 2 ticks, we just see if some variable is on or off, and if it is on, or if it's 1, then we're going to tick the grid. So not a lot of computational power, but still not great. But I'm pretty sure there's no easy way to do a loop in Skript, so it's probably better to do it that way anyway. Actually, so here's the code for toggling it. We just say if it's not set, then it becomes 0, and then we set it to 1 minus itself, which is a pretty easy way to swap between 0 and 1, which is easier than true and false in my opinion. Board save is pretty easy. We just take the number, and then it will save the current board into a location, and we just clone it, and then send a message, and there's some checks to be. So at the moment, the usable memories are 40 to 200. Y256 should delete the ceiling, which you can see, and that's just so lighting updates don't happen for this, so it's less laggy, which is quite a nice part to have, quite a nice feature to have. Then clearing a memory is just deleting it. It's the same thing really, and the label and reading the label is like the same thing. You just put in what address you want and the label, and then it will set some list to that, and then you can recall that with this command. We've already done the surrounding thing. We've done prepare ticking, right? And that's basically because before, the way it worked, if you start acting on the board before it's like saved, because it will clone it from memory before it has a chance to read it. So we just do this, and we only do this once every time we start or stop doing it after people building on it. And here's a quite nice thing actually. So on left click Obsidian, we can delete the block if it's like in the right range, so anything below Y30. But also if it's like the correct height and it's not running, then we can see what location it is in memory. And that means if we right click on it or left click on it when it's on the ground, then we're just going to delete it. But if we left click on it when it's in memory, hang on, these haven't been set. Among Us figure. But yeah, if we left click on it in memory, then it will tell us the name of it, and then we can load that if we want. Everything I have to say about it. There's also a /info command. It's not really that useful. It's just so if I ever forget these commands, I don't have access to the script, I can still do stuff. I guess the IP is bedend.minehut.gg, but I haven't added a way for players to change whether it's running or not, so it's not going to be very fun without me. You're either just going to be building for nothing to happen, or then just watching it run. Quite a lot of people have asked how it works, so I just thought I'd make this video. Toggle that, nice. I think it's really lovely actually, it's amazing. As always, if you want to like subscribe or something, that is getting reasonably close to 1,000. I mean, like we've got like 840 at the moment, so it's not too far-fetched that at one point in the future there might be 1,000 people subscribed, which would be really cool. But yeah, if you do have any like questions about this, you can probably ask them and I might answer them. But yeah, thanks.